if we are open to a definition of interoperability having multiple layers, then I think the answer to your question is yes. If we step back for a minute and recognize that there were three phases that were originally, at a high level anticipated, from a technology perspective. First wave was, and that was corresponding with Meaningful Use Phase 1, is get systems into the hands of clinicians so that they can do something electronic to begin with. Right? Remember, we started off with 10% EHR penetration, and now we're above 70%. In Massachusetts, we're approaching 80%. And that's just since President Obama was elected, right? You think about what a short period of time that was and the sea change that's happened in that. So that was the first phase, was you just have to get everyone electronic first before you can even have this health exchange or patient engagement conversation. And that's largely, I think we should all sort of step back and say that was really successful. I mean, 70% plus in the most fragmented part of the economy, arguably with the most difficult types of business one can imagine, which is healthcare. And we're over 70% people using a real EHR, not a fake EHR. Before it was 10%. Half of those people were using Microsoft Word with macros, and they just said I had an EHR. Or they were using their sister-in-law's, FileMaker Pro EHR and calling it an EHR. Now we're talking about 70% who are on an EHR that both you and I would look at and say, yeah, that's an EHR as we think about it. So that's huge. The second was to enable push. So my ability to send something to you, your ability to send something to me, a lab's ability to deliver labs, a physician's ability to physician prescribing, right? That was what the next step up was supposed to be. We didn't have the language of direct at the time, but the idea was that push would be the next step. And then query would be the third, the ability to do that emergency department use case of, I need to know whether there's information on you from that other system, and let me query it and get something back. And that'll be a part of Meaningful Use Stage 3. So when I step back and say, wow, that's kind of happening, right? We got people in electronic systems, Stage 1. Stage 2 is pushing direct. And as we see out in the market, while there's a lot of noise, and a tremendous amount of noise, people kind of get it. I think when you talk to providers, I'm amazed at how at the top of the provider food chain, like the Beth Israels and the Partners, and the Mayos and the Kaisers, down to the bottom of the food chain of single providers, they all are able to speak about, yeah, I need to be able to push, I need to be able to figure out how I'm going to do that, I need to be able to send transitions of care. They all kind of understand that and are moving forward on that. So it seems like that's really going to happen starting this year, because of the push from the government, but as you start to get people doing it, they'll just do it more and more. Whether we're able to get to query in phase 3, I think is going to be the sort of our ultimate litmus test of whether this is going to happen.